The race to the future has already begun, and one of its main battlegrounds is China. For decades, the world labeled China as the factory of cheap goods, a country churning out low-cost electronics, garments, and toys for the West. But today, that image no longer holds. China has transformed into a factory of ideas, a crucible where engineers, scientists, and innovators are reshaping the global technological order. The central question that hangs over this transformation is simple yet profound. Can China surpass America? It is not just about economics or cars, not merely about gadgets or robots. It is about global influence, national power, and the race to define the century ahead. This is not just competition. It is a struggle for supremacy between two civilizational models, one rooted in free market capitalism and Silicon Valley entrepreneurialism, the other built on state-led industrial strategy and relentless execution. Our journey begins in Shenzhen, once a fishing village on the southern coast of China, just across the border from Hong Kong. In the 1980s, few could have imagined that this muddy backwater would rise into a megacity of more than 17 million people, often called the Silicon Valley of the East. Yet today, it is precisely here that some of the world's most advanced technologies are being born. From robotics to electric vehicles, from artificial intelligence to drone logistics, Shenzhen embodies the essence of China's modernization drive. It is a city where ambition never sleeps, where skyscrapers pierce the skyline, and where innovation has become the lifeblood of society. Dreams here are not abstract. They are manufactured, tested, and shipped to the world. In this city of relentless ambition stands BYD, Build Your Dreams, the world's largest electric car company. BYD's story is not only about cars, it is about China itself. Founded in 1995 as a small battery maker, the company began with little more than determination and an apartment-sized factory. By 2003, it took the audacious step of entering the automotive world, an industry dominated by global giants and sneered at by Western analysts. At the time, people mocked them. Elon Musk himself laughed, dismissing BYD's cars as unattractive and uninspiring. Yet the years that followed rewrote the narrative. In 2023, BYD overtook Tesla in global sales, a symbolic moment that showed the world China was no longer a follower, but a contender. Inside the BYD factory, the scale is staggering. Over 1 million employees, more than 100,000 engineers, and a torrent of patents cover the walls like battle trophies. Each patent is not just a piece of paper, but a weapon in the global technological war. The company produces more than 1,400 vehicles per day in this plant alone. Nearly one car every minute. Almost every stage of production is automated, with robots assembling robots, precision replacing human error. Their innovation, the Blade battery, is a masterpiece of engineering. A lithium iron phosphate battery shaped like a sword, designed to be safer, more durable, and cheaper than conventional alternatives. Unlike other companies that outsource components, BYD makes almost everything in-house, from chips to motors to the very trains that run in cities like São Paulo, Brazil. This vertical integration is not just a strategy, it is the reason for their resilience. Walking through BYD's innovation halls feels like stepping into a science fiction story that has already come true. Their supercars can dance in place, spinning 360 degrees as if choreographed for entertainment. Their vehicles can charge faster than any other in the world, 400 kilometers of range in just 5 minutes. Some even float on water, transforming into lifeboats during floods, a feature unimaginable in traditional cars. In a world where climate change brings unpredictable disasters, such innovation feels less like novelty and more like necessity. And yet, despite their monumental rise, BYD carries with it scars from its early years. The company proudly displays the negative media headlines that once mocked it. Ugly cars, better give up, relentless attacks that now serve as reminders of resilience. Today, those same critics must acknowledge a company valued at hundreds of billions, selling in markets from Thailand to Brazil, reshaping global automotive trends. But this story is not only about cars. Shenzhen itself is the laboratory of the future. Walking its streets, you find drones delivering coffee to your table, Ordered not by phone, but by an app that integrates every aspect of life. WeChat, the super app used by over 1 billion Chinese. Here, cash is almost extinct. Even credit cards feel outdated. A palm scan is enough to pay for your groceries or ride in a self-driving taxi. Autonomous cars navigate traffic without drivers, and delivery robots roll seamlessly into hotel elevators, delivering packages to rooms. Airports use facial recognition to check passengers through gates in seconds. For visitors from the West, it feels as if they've stepped 20 years into the future, bypassing the messy inefficiencies of Silicon Valley or San Francisco, where theft, homelessness, and decaying infrastructure mar the image of progress. This contrast raises a fundamental question. Is Shenzhen merely an outlier, or is it a preview of China's broader future? Critics often argue that China's progress is state-orchestrated, lacking the bottom-up creativity of the West. Yet what we see here suggests otherwise. These innovations are not only responses to government policy, they are also the result of entrepreneurial zeal and relentless experimentation. Behind every robot and every drone stands a young engineer, working long hours in pursuit of recognition, profit, and national pride. China is no longer imitating, it is creating. And in doing so, it forces the world to rethink its assumptions about where the future will be built. The stakes are immense. If BYD represents the automotive future, Shenzhen represents the urban future, and both point to a single truth. China is not content with second place. It is playing for leadership. And this is what makes it a nightmare for Tesla, for Silicon Valley, and indeed for America. Because the race to the future is not only about technology, it is about who controls the rules of the game in the 21st century. Beyond the factory walls of BYD and the futuristic streets of Shenzhen lies a deeper story, one of global rivalry and shifting power. Every innovation, every patent, every autonomous taxi that glides through the city streets is not just a symbol of Chinese progress, but also a challenge to American dominance. For decades, the United States held the technological high ground. Silicon Valley dictated the pace of change, while Wall Street financed the world's most ambitious ventures. Yet today, the balance is tilting. China's achievements are no longer confined to its borders. They are shaping markets, rewriting supply chains, and influencing global standards. In this new reality, the question is not whether China can catch up to the United States. It is whether the United States can maintain its lead at all. Consider the story of BYD again. Born as a battery maker in 1995, its founders did not have access to Silicon Valley venture capital or the vast resources of Detroit. What they had instead was persistence and a culture of engineering discipline. While American companies outsourced manufacturing overseas to cut costs, BYD doubled down on mastering every component of the value chain. Today, that decision looks prophetic. In a world scrambling for battery technology, supply security, and electric mobility, BYD stands not only as the largest electric vehicle producer, but also as the supplier of critical technologies to other automakers. Their Blade battery is a breakthrough not just in safety, but also in geopolitics. Whoever controls the battery supply controls the future of mobility. And today, BYD, and by extension, China, holds that leverage. This is where China's state strategy becomes clear. The government has long viewed electric vehicles not as an industry, but as a national mission. Billions in subsidies, massive infrastructure rollouts, and an industrial ecosystem designed to scale faster than any competitor have propelled companies like BYD to global dominance. While in the US, electric vehicle adoption struggles with charging infrastructure gaps, in China, entire cities are wired with fast charging stations, supported by policy and executed with breathtaking speed. In Shenzhen, electric taxis and buses dominate the streets, turning what was once a policy dream into lived reality. This speed and scale are China's true competitive weapons. But it is not only about cars. Shenzhen has become the epicenter of a much larger experiment in technological integration. In this city, the boundaries between digital and physical life are dissolving. Delivery drones fly coffee across neighborhoods, an experiment that would face years of regulatory hurdles in Europe or America. Autonomous vehicles operate not as prototypes, but as services available to ordinary people. Biometric payments, once a futuristic concept, are routine. Even simple tasks like entering an airport gate are accelerated by facial recognition systems that reduce human friction. The cumulative effect of these innovations is profound. Life in Shenzhen feels effortless, optimized, and futuristic in ways that highlight the inefficiencies of Western systems. This contrast is more than cultural. It is geopolitical, because technology is not neutral. Whoever pioneers it sets the rules for how societies live and work. When America built the internet, it also exported its values of openness, free exchange, and decentralized innovation. When China builds smart cities, it embeds its own priorities: security, surveillance, and centralized control. In Shenzhen, cameras line the streets, capturing every movement, ensuring safety but also reinforcing a system of constant monitoring. For some, this is the price of order. For others, it is the loss of liberty. Yet the effectiveness is undeniable. While San Francisco struggles with crime, homelessness, and broken infrastructure, Shenzhen projects an image of order, cleanliness, and technological sophistication. For governments worldwide, especially in the global south, the Chinese model looks increasingly attractive. The rivalry between Tesla and BYD crystallizes this broader struggle. Tesla is not merely an American car company. It is a symbol of Silicon Valley genius, innovation, and cultural influence. Elon Musk is a celebrity entrepreneur, celebrated as the face of disruption. Yet in China, BYD is proving that disruption is not exclusive to Silicon Valley. Their cars are not only cheaper, but in some cases more advanced, offering features like water flotation or ultra-fast charging that Tesla has yet to match. Tesla remains strong in branding and software ecosystems, but BYD has scale, affordability, and the support of an entire nation's industrial policy. This is why the race between the two is more than business. It is emblematic of the larger US-China rivalry, a duel between two visions of the future. And it is not a duel fought in isolation. China's rise in electric vehicles connects to its dominance in renewable energy, solar panels, and supply chains of critical minerals like lithium and rare earth elements. The very materials needed for the green transition, batteries, chips, semiconductors, are increasingly sourced, refined, or processed in China. America, by contrast, is scrambling to rebuild industrial capacity that it outsourced decades ago. The Inflation Reduction Act in Washington is a belated attempt to counterbalance China's lead, pumping billions into domestic EV and battery production. But scaling up industries is not a matter of years. It is a matter of decades. China has already run that marathon. The US is still tying its shoes. What makes this rivalry even more complex is that Tesla itself relies on China. Its gigafactory in Shanghai is one of the company's most important production hubs, feeding cars into markets across Asia and Europe. Musk often praises China's efficiency, even as US policymakers warn against dependence on Beijing. This paradox illustrates the tangled web of globalization. Competitors are also partners, rivals also collaborators. For consumers, this may mean cheaper, faster innovation. For nations, it means vulnerability, strategic dependence on a competitor that might one day be an adversary. As we walk back into Shenzhen's city streets, the story becomes even clearer. Electric cars glide silently, delivery robots weave through pedestrians, and cashless transactions happen with a wave of the hand. A new model of urban life is taking shape before our eyes, one that challenges the Western assumption that the future must be written in Silicon Valley. For China, the race to the future is not a dream. It is a reality being constructed daily in steel, glass, and silicon. And for the world, the question remains, can America respond, or has the baton already been passed?